Chapter 1. The High-Tech War System. Run! Desperate cries echoed in his ears. Wang Chung suddenly jumped up from his seat. As he opened his eyes, he saw a figure staggering towards him. It's a mutant, without a second thought. He instinctively grabbed the water bottle beside him and swung it towards the figure's head. Wait, a water bottle. At the last moment, Wang Cheng's action suddenly froze. The figure in front of him was not a mutant with a split head and a twisted gait, but his familiar calculus teacher, Chen Guodong. Looking around, he realized it was an ordinary classroom, seemingly in the midst of an exam. All he could see were familiar faces of his university classmates, staring at him in shock. Outside the window, the afternoon sun was bright, and the apocalyptic scene seemed like it had never happened. Wang Chung was momentarily stunned. It's the third day of the apocalypse. Wasn't I killed by a mutant? How? Could it be that I've been reborn? Chen Guodong was also startled by Wang Chung. He swiftly snatched the water bottle from Wang Cheng's hand and said, "What's wrong with you? It's one thing to skip class normally, but sleeping during the final exam? And now you want to hit me? Come with me, I'm taking you out for a talk. Why are you pulling out your phone? This is an exam room." Wang Chung didn't hear a word of what Chen Guodong said. A wave of disbelief surged in his heart as he pulled out his phone to check the time. It was May 27th, 235 in the Federation. The very day the apocalypse began that I really have been reborn. Chen Guodong was genuinely getting angry. In his 50s, he was a well-respected professor at Haicheng University, with a relatively high failure rate in calculus. Over the years, he had never encountered a student who so blatantly disrespected him. Sleeping during an exam was one thing, but now he was being ignored completely. What kind of behavior was this? Are you not afraid of getting expelled? Chen Guodong was furious and reached out to grab Wang Cheng's arm, pulling him towards the hallway for a proper scolding. Wang Chung turned to look at the people in the room. Since they were all from the same class, they were sitting together. His roommates were right in front and behind him, and he turned to see those familiar faces. They were all still alive. His roommate, Su Xinghai, even quietly gave Wang Chung a thumbs up and silently mouthed, "Nice job. Remember to admit defeat when you go out," as they were pulled out of the exam room. Before Chen Guodong could explode in anger, he noticed Wang Cheng's face was slightly flushed and paused for a moment. "Are you starting to feel scared? Are you about to cry?" Before he finished speaking, Wang Chung stepped forward and hugged him tightly. "Professor Chen, it's so good to see you alive." "Chen Guodong, what are you, hey? What are you doing? Where do you think you're going? I haven't let you leave yet. Do you want to get expelled?" Wang Chung gave Chen Guodong an excited bear hug and then turned to leave, leaving Chen Guodong dumbfounded. Wang Chung just waved his hand from a distance. "Professor Chen, say goodbye to your family before dark, and then find a place to lock yourself up. I don't want to kill you again." After a brief moment of excitement, his expression became serious. He remembered clearly. Today, the world would experience an unprecedented disaster. A terrifying mutation, the cause of which was unknown, would sweep across the globe, and 70% of all living beings would transform into mutants within hours. Beings more terrifying than zombies. Humans, animals, insects, and even plants would not escape. In his memories, Chen Guodong had transformed and was killed by Wang Chung himself. The remaining 30%, although fortunate enough to avoid mutation, would live in a hellish apocalypse, worse than death, because they would exist in a world gone mad with global mutations. Wang Chung had only survived 3 days before being torn apart by a mutant. His last memory was of Su Xinghai screaming at him to run, but how could he escape? Yet, he had somehow come back to life. This was a chance given to him by fate. After a moment of excitement, Wang Chung quickly calmed down. It was exactly 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The mutations would start at 6 in the evening, with a full outbreak at 7. Optimistically, he had only 5 hours left to prepare. With 5 hours to prepare, he absolutely did not want to die within 3 days again. Wang Chung left the campus directly, took a taxi, and headed to the supermarket for a frantic shopping spree. He took all his living expenses out. Wang Chung didn't shout out anything about the impending apocalypse. There were no signs of this terrifying mutation coming, and shouting online would only get him muted at best. Or worse, summoned by authorities for questioning. By then, the disaster would have struck, and he would be stuck in a confinement room, waiting to die. Wang Chung had no illusion of wanting to save the world or humanity. Under mutation, no matter your identity, age, status, or wealth, you could become a mutant. The whole world would be reshuffled under the terrifying apocalypse. Wang Chung needed to make the most of this rebirth opportunity and live well. He couldn't worry about others and things anymore. Sitting in the car, Wang Chung called his parents far away in Fengtian, telling them that a great disaster might be approaching, urging them to come home immediately and stock up on supplies without going out. His parents were ordinary workers, and upon hearing Wang Cheng's words, they didn't really believe him. Instead, they were very worried even thinking that something had traumatized him. Listen to me, Mom and Dad. You must be home before 5, and after 7, do not go out. Wait for me, I will come to find you. When the apocalypse broke out, communication networks would be the first to collapse, and he wouldn't be able to reach them. Wang Cheng didn't know if his parents would mutate, but he had to do what he could. Upon arriving at the supermarket, Wang Cheng went on a shopping spree, pushing a cart full of supplies, leaving the store's staff dumbfounded. At the same time, he bought a bunch of knives, kitchen knives, fruit knives, boning knives. After the disaster struck, getting these supplies would mean risking encounters with mutants and competing with other survivors. Therefore, he bought as many useful items as he could. He spent all his living expenses and his earnings from 3 years of tutoring during university. Please deliver these items to the boys' dormitory 703 in Building 17 of Haicheng University. Wang Cheng clearly stated the address to the staff, asking them to help with the delivery. He also called Su Xinghai and the others, who had already completed their exams. I bought some things. Hurry back to the dormitory and help me receive them. Su Xinghai said, do you know Wang? Professor Chun is going crazy. He has reported to the school leadership, and you might get expelled. Didn't I tell you to admit defeat? What if you really get expelled? Wang Cheng replied, it's fine, don't worry. Su Xinghai was shocked. What's wrong with you today? You seem so calm. Meanwhile, the supermarket staff looked at the pile of items Wang Cheng had bought and heard they were to be delivered to the dormitory. Finding it hard to believe, could all this stuff fit in the dorm? But Wang Cheng had already left. He contacted a local vendor selling stun guns online, settled on a price, and prepared to pick up the goods. The place is not far, and there is some traffic on the way. Wang Cheng simply hopped onto a blue shared electric scooter parked by the roadside and sped forward on his little electric ride. At this moment, it was already 3:30 p.m. Time was running out. However, while riding, a cold electronic voice suddenly rang in Wang Cheng's ears. The high-tech warfare system has been successfully loaded. System energy remaining 50 points. Host has been confirmed. Host is currently using a vehicle. Scanning current vehicle. Vehicle meets current energy modification standards. Binding vehicle. Current vehicle has low functionality and poor performance. Would you like to spend 50 points of energy to upgrade the current vehicle? Wang Cheng. Chapter 2. This battleship is definitely not a shared electric vehicle. The speed of the small electric scooter gradually decreased. With years of reading experience in novels, Wang Cheng quickly calmed down and took a deep breath. System? Dear host, the Advanced Technology Warfare System is at your service. Would you like to spend 50 energy points to upgrade your current vehicle to a battleship that matches your status? Wang Cheng's small electric scooter came to a complete stop. Just hearing the name of this system sounded impressive. It was offering to transform this shared electric vehicle into a battleship right away. If the system was activated and he had a battleship, what was there to fear from the apocalypse or mutant creatures? A battleship would be a dimensional strike against those things. It was about to take off. Wang Cheng suppressed his excitement, glanced at the crowded street, and instead of rushing to buy electric shock devices, he pulled the shared electric vehicle into a secluded alley and spoke to the system directly. Upgrade to a battleship. The apocalypse was approaching, and since the system had descended, he might as well make good use of it. Dear host, please follow the instructions. Place your hands on your vehicle. Wang Cheng complied and placed his hands on the shared electric scooter. Battleship upgrade initiated. Expected duration 2 minutes and 17 seconds. During this process, please do not leave your vehicle. Accompanied by the system's prompt, Wang Cheng felt a warm stream of energy surge from his palms into the shared electric scooter. Then, an incredible scene unfolded before his eyes. The unremarkable shared electric vehicle began to emit a bright white light, enveloping the entire scooter. Shortly after, he heard a heavy, unusual sound coming from beneath him, and his body jolted. It was like something from a movie, as if a transformer was changing shape. However, under the white light, Wang Cheng couldn't clearly see the specific changes of the scooter and could only wait. 2 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. As the white light gradually faded, Wang Cheng looked forward to a stylish battleship appearing. Instead, what appeared before him was a sleek black two-wheeled body, the wheels seemingly larger, and the front basket split into 2 mounting devices on either side. Aside from the color change to black and the larger wheels, what was the difference from the previous shared electric vehicle? The corners of Wang Cheng's mouth twitched as he noticed that even the QR code from the shared vehicle was still clearly visible at the back. Besides that, the handlebars of this shared electric scooter now had many strange buttons, seemingly able to activate different functions. System, are you sure you upgraded this for me? Dear host, your battleship has been upgraded and is now at level 0. Although the appearance has not changed much, its speed, performance, and hull defense have been significantly enhanced. Additionally, 2 mounting modules have been created where you can install weapon systems that fit perfectly with the battleship. Wang Cheng, even with upgraded performance and defense, it's still a fact that it's just a weak vessel. He looked at the 2 weapon mounting modules created from the vehicle frame. still holding on to a glimmer of hope, and asked, "What about